After watching today's video, you're gonna have all the info you need in order to take your gameplay to the next level in Kiling Floor 3. We're gonna start off with the beginner stuff. So we're gonna break down the perks, the armory, the weapon upgrades, how the skill system works. Then we're gonna break down advanced movement tips that you need to know in order to perform much better on higher difficulties. And I'm also gonna talk about a lot of important combat tips as well. So let's get right into it. The perk select is essentially your classes in this game, right? Like you have 6 total classes and you can pick whichever suits your playstyle essentially. Now, the way skills work in this game is pretty simple actually. You're going to be getting points from finishing missions. Then once you get to certain levels, for example, on level 2, you're going to unlock the perk Doctor's Bag, right? Or the second one, Healing Hands. Now on each lane, you can only pick one perk and then you can upgrade that perk 3 times. Now, please keep in mind that once you do upgrade a perk and you put in the skill points, you're not going to be able to retrieve them, right? You can switch off this anytime. For example, you guys see that I have upgraded the biohazard twice. Now, if I don't want to use it, which I'm currently not actually, I'm using Pill Mill, then you can just leave this perk behind, but you cannot retrieve the points that you spent on them. So that is very important, right? Now, one thing you need to keep in mind is that you don't really want to sit on these points if you do know approximately what build you're going for, because using up your points increases your proficiency of your said class. So for example, right here, you see medic proficiency is at level 4. So I've spent 800 points. At 1,000 points spent, I'm gonna hit level 5. And the reason this is important is because it gives you proficiency bonus. So in this case, it's, for example, plus 1 second to Z time, heal Nova duration, and plus 13% Z time movement speed. And depending on which class you're playing, these are gonna have different effects. So if you have, like, let's say 300, 400 points, just look at the skill points, make a decision and invest so you get these bonuses early and you don't waste time. When it comes to the armory, this is where it gets very interesting. And this is where a lot of your build crafting and your synergies are going to come from, in combination with the skills that we just went over. For example, in armory, you have the medic weapons. And if you take a look at them, the weapons are divided into, let's call them just 4 tiers. You have the normal weapon, then the green, the blue, and the purple. Now, the cool thing about the armory is that you can create loadouts, right? So you can pre-make a weapon, and then when you're in the game, when you get to the point that you can purchase a weapon, you can buy your pre-made weapon, which is going to be exactly the way you want. Because if you don't do that, once you're playing, the weapons you're going to be offered during the gameplay, they're essentially going to be randomized weapons with random things on them, right? And maybe some of them you don't even want. So just as an example, if you take a look at my LF85, right? Let's take a look here. I have 2 loadouts, right? Main heals and then max damage freeze, but this one also has a bunch of heals as well. So how do you do this? Let's actually start first so you get an idea. We're going to create a loadout. A very important thing you need to know here is, for example, if we want to craft one of the, batteries in this case, right? And you're thinking to make a very powerful healing tool, then this would be a great option for you, right? Now, just for science, I am going to craft this, right? And I'm going to show you how this works. So we're going to equip it. Now, the cool thing is you can upgrade this further. So all you got to do is click on this. And then right here, you see we have this battery picked. So then I'm going to right click on this for the upgrade, and it will show you the benefits of you upgrading it to the next level. You will see that a hidden perk kind of pops up. This is the bonus ability, 3% chance to heal 5% HP on a kill shot. And that heal can be very, very good. So we're going to upgrade this right now, and then you will see that there's going to be another level to it, and we can do it again. Now, you will notice that all of these upgrades, guys, are essentially tied to materials. Now, where do these materials come from? All of these materials that you see right here, they come from just playing the game, killing different kinds of enemies, and they will drop different kinds of materials, right? Now, I'm going to upgrade this to the next level, and you will see that a new material pops up. Now, this one is the one that comes from killing bosses. So every time you play a mission, if you fail a boss kill, you're not going to be getting this, right? So you want to make sure that you're on a difficulty where you can at least take out the boss so that you keep getting these drops so you can upgrade your batteries or whatever it is, scopes, to the maximum level. And in this case, once you do get it to the max level, then the bonus ability becomes available. Some of these are very important depending on the build you're going for. Now, another thing you need to keep in mind is that every time you're adding a mod to your weapon, it ups the price, right? If you take a look right here above the face cam, right now it's 4,290. But if we take this off, it's just 4,000, right? So that is something that you have to kind of organize depending on what kind of build you want. And do you want your powerful weapons mid-game, end-game, and you need to have control over the money so you don't spend too much so you can get to this level. However, once you do craft it, after that, the upgrading does not make it more costly. So, for example, let's take a look at the magazine. Let's craft one. It says that this is going to add 305 cost to our weapon. If I craft this right here, you will see that our overall cost right now is 4,595. But if I do upgrade this, right? Let's get the upgrade going. Just like that. It will stay the same. Also, when it comes to weapons, you can buy any other class's weapons on any class. If I'm a medic main, mid-game, if I've, for example, have a very strong weapon created from the sharpshooter class, I can purchase this weapon as a medic. It's all about just managing your money. Now, we mentioned also like damage types and whatnot, and that is where you want to visit the codex. And the codex will tell you everything here. You will see the damage types and effective against, the Z-Tech and ballistic. You can just break all of this down. Same goes for the enemies. It will show you all the enemies and all their weaknesses. So yeah, get to it. Now, a few tips when it comes to leveling, right? One thing you need to understand that you're better off playing on, for example, normal if you're really struggling on hard and you're not getting the full clears. So if you see that you're failing on hard mode and on wave 2, I would just play normal until you feel confident to play on hard. Now, another thing that you need to do and pay attention to is your assignment. So for example, we have daily orders, right? Shock treatment, incapacitate an enemy using electrical damage, and that will give you an extra 100 perk XP, which is pretty cool. And obviously you get battle pass XP as well. And there's a bunch of other ones. You guys see that I have completed a bunch of the dailies. You also have weeklies. These give you 250 XP per completion. So always pay attention to the daily order and the weekly operations so you boost your leveling process. Now, when it comes to the actual strat we used to level up very efficiently, we picked the convoy map. Once again, map name is convoy, and you're gonna find this tunnel system, right? So all we do is we just stay in the tunnel, and what this does is it makes the enemies push in from every side, right? And not only from the sides, they pop out of walls as well, which makes it really fast. So you don't have to like look for enemies or whatever. They're coming in from both sides, right? This really does speed up the process of farming. And we were getting approximately like 8 to 10,000 XP per hour, which is actually pretty good. And it's very, very simple to do, right? You can do this alone as well if you are geared and confident, but we were doing it in duos or trios. Now, if you want to do this on Hell on Earth, that is up to you. We did that as well, but we found that on hard mode, it's actually a little bit more efficient because it was just faster overall. So yeah, what I would advise is if you can do hard mode, do this method on said mode, and if not, go back to normal, and when you level up, then move on to hard mode and so on. You are going to be getting tons of XP this way. And another tip is that as soon as you finish the wave, rush the station right away, get whatever upgrade you need, then go back to the tunnel immediately. And once you're in the tunnel, then start the wave again. And yeah, overall, this is a really fun farm and a very effective one as well. Now let's talk about movement, because this is very important and you really need to master this if you're going to be playing on the higher difficulties. And the reason I say that, it's just going to make everything so much easier, right? So first of all, with your melee weapon, you are going to be running faster, okay? But you can speed all of that up. If you just sprint, I mean, yeah, it's fine, but you can implement the slide. The slide speeds up everything. However, that's not the only thing. You can combine a bunch of things with the slide to make it even faster. The first thing we're going to showcase is slide into a jump, right into a slide, and you just keep the rotation. right? So it's going to look something like this. Slide, you're going to jump, slide. And what you need to know here is that you don't even have to press slide all the time. As long as you keep your finger on the button, it will keep sliding, right? So all you have to do is just time your jump at the end of the slide and you're good, right? Just like this. You don't want to wait to here. You don't want to wait until that very last stop, right? That's essentially what you're trying to avoid here. Slide, jump, right? Now, the next level to this and something that you can implement is a dash. But first, let's take a look at the side movement thanks to the dash and the slide. Now, this is a little bit more advanced, but you can use this to your advantage a lot of the times. So let's say you're getting shot or whatever, you can always dash to the side, right? What you can also do, though, is dash into a slide and move further. You got to be sprinting to the side. You're going to dash and then slide, right? And then you can go into the jump slide. So once again, let's say we're getting attacked from this side. I'm trying to avoid some damage and move to the side really fast. Once again, you're keeping your finger on your sprint. You're going to dash into a slide and get out with jump and slide. Here's another cool tip, right? You can't dash forward, right? Like if you're running this way, you can't do it. However, I found that if you're moving forward and you tap A and dash at the same time, or D and dash at the same time. So essentially what you're trying to do is move a little bit to the side. That will give you the ability to activate the dash while moving forward. So it's going to look like this. You see that, right? So what I'm doing is I'm pressing dash and A or D at the same time, and it's dashing forward. Boom, just like that. You can implement dash, slide into jump as well. And this will make it even faster. It's going to look something like this. You're sprinting, dash, slide, jump, and then you can go into slide jumping. So for example, you're sliding, jumping, you're dashing, sliding, right? All these things really speed up your character. And what this does is this gives you the ability to fight, for example, the bosses much easier. If I'm getting chased by a boss and I do a slide jump into a slide and I turn around right as I'm sliding, I'm still keeping the momentum of my movement and dealing damage, which will make it much easier, because in this game, it's all about moving all the time and kiting enemies and just not staying stationary too long, because you will get overwhelmed. And speaking of always moving, another very cool technique is that when you're shooting a enemy, you can always dash backwards. So what I do is I keep my finger on my trigger. So I just keep spraying the enemy, and at the same time, I'm tapping dash. Just like this, and I'm always creating distance while fighting the boss or whatever is in front of me. Now let's talk about some gameplay tips that will be very, very helpful. So for the first few rounds, if you get the ability, what I like to do is use my melee weapon and just keep some ammunition. So that really speeds up my upgrading because I don't have to waste money on the ammo or use my ammo bag as well. Another thing is you do want to use your flashlight. A lot of people forget this, but I myself forget it too, to be honest. But yeah, so I'm going to turn on my flashlight right here. And in this case, for example, I'm on my, medic, so I can just use my knife here to absolutely destroy these guys really quick. They do take a lot of damage from your melee weapon. And as I said, it will help you to keep some of the ammunition and not waste a lot of it, right? As you guys can see, it's very easy to kill these guys. Now, another thing that you want to keep in mind is that you can block a lot of things with your melee weapon, and you can even block ranged attacks, which is pretty cool. And it will keep you alive more than you can imagine. Now, as you're going through the missions, when it comes to materials, when you see cameras, you do want to break them. These will give you specific materials. So when you see these things, always tap them, right? Always, and get some extra materials. This is shared, so when you're doing this, your teammates are going to be getting it as well. Now, there is a very important animation cancel in this game when it comes to healing. If you take a look at the animation of the syringe, right, you will see that it's pretty slow, right? Look how long that is. Now, you can essentially completely counter that literally by just swapping to your gun immediately as soon as the heal starts. So right here, I'm going to use my syringe and immediately swap to my weapon. You see how fast that is? And that completely counters the healing animation and makes it so much easier to stay alive. Honestly, it's a huge difference. Let me take care of these guys real quick. This is going to be a perfect opportunity here to showcase how you can resupply during the game. You see that we are out of ammunition here. I don't have an ammo bag. What you want to do is you want to press down the F key right? And it will show you exactly where you need to go. You just follow this, and once you run up to the station, you can just resupply, which is very, very strong and really changes the whole, ammo economy during the gameplay. Right here, boom, resupply, and now we have ammunition again. Bashing is also your friend. On the keyboard, it is on V, right? So what this does is it can stagger enemies and interrupt attacks as well. So even if it's the flash enemies with the chainsaws, doesn't matter, right? As long as you're bashing them, you will be able to interrupt, which will give you that breathing room to survive. Or if not, always remember that you have your melee weapon to block and then move back. We talked about movement, right? So you guys see there's tons of enemies here. I'm just gonna try to create more range so you guys get a better idea on how to utilize this. Right now I have my knife out, which means once again we're running faster. You guys can see they're trying to catch up. Slide, jump. I can switch to my weapon, then turn around, and I've created so much distance here. And this is going to keep you alive a lot of the times. One of the more important tools in this game also, especially on higher difficulty, I would say, is the multi-tool. So for example, you have this armor locker. You can unlock this. Boom. And now when you run up to this and pick this up, it will fully refresh your armor. But that is not the only thing it can do. So for example, right here, we have a turret and it helps you clear, right? You see how powerful that is? Like it locks them down, it gets a bunch of kills, and it just makes it so much more comfortable, especially in boss waves. You can literally just slide jump around and let the turret do its thing. Look, it's just clearing, right? It's just free damage. You can also activate zip lines. And the zips, I do believe, are very strong because if you're getting overwhelmed, let's say we're fighting in this area, right? And there's a lot of enemies and they're surrounding us from every side. The fact that you can just tap this and get the hell out of there is incredible. Now, zips do have a cooldown, as you guys can see on the bottom left side. It's currently on cooldown, so you'd have to wait it out to be able to use it once again. And the cool thing about the multi-tool is once you do unlock that chest for armor or the zip, it just stays there for the whole game and anybody can use it. It's not just you, but all of the team can utilize those things. So once you do complete a wave, when it comes to armor, right here, you guys see that we can fill up our armor. We would just have to spend 75 money per recharge, right? And then you can essentially fill it out fully, but that's kind of a waste. Instead, if you do have some extra money, I would go for an upgrade. It will take it to the next tier and it will fully regen your armor. Also, you see we have 1,919, right? Let's say if I wanted to switch out the syringe bag for an ammo bag, you're not actually spending the 240. So do that freely. You'll just swap out and you'll have the same amount of money. So yeah, those are all the things that I wanted to go over with you guys when it comes to Killing Floor 3. There's gonna be some other things. I'm also looking more in depth into the highest difficulty of the game. So if I find some very important, cool end game tips, I will let you guys know. And I will be posting it on the channel as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. By the way, for all the people that don't know, I stream both on YouTube and on Twitch. And as mentioned, I'm gonna be dropping tons of builds for Medic and other classes. So stay tuned for that. As always, guys, thank you so much for all the love and support. Stay positive, stay disciplined, and I'll see you all on the next one.